The arena is silent, too silent. Not because the crowd isn't watching, but because they're holding their breath. All eyes are locked on two fighters standing toe-to-toe beneath the blinding lights. Fong, the outsider no one believed in, and Connor Day, the prodigy groomed for greatness since childhood. One fueled by pain and raw instinct, the other by precision, honor, and an unshakable legacy. This isn't just a fight. It's a collision course between past and future, between a forgotten name clawing for redemption and a legend desperate to prove he's untouchable. Every move they make, every strike, every feint, carries the weight of everything they've lost and everything they still stand to lose. In a world where second chances are rare, and forgiveness even rarer, this final battle doesn't ask who's stronger. It demands who's willing to break. This is Karate Kid Legends, and the path to this explosive finale is as brutal, emotional, and unforgettable as the fight itself. But how did we get here? This is the full story. The rise of Fong, the fall of everything Connor Day thought he knew, and the final showdown that turned a fighter into a legend. Let's rewind to where the storm began. Mr. Han is a respected Shifu master who runs a prestigious Kung Fu academy in Beijing, China, where numerous young students train in his time-honored martial arts discipline. One of them is Fong, a reserved teen who resides at the school, quietly distancing himself from his mother, a doctor who soon arrives to bring him home. She's accepted a new job in New York City and insists Lee leave martial arts and violence behind, a condition set after the tragic stabbing of Lee's older brother by a disgraced rival. Struggling to fit in, Lee has difficulty making friends at his new school. Eventually, he meets Mia Lipini, whose father, Victor Lipini, is a former boxer now running a classic Italian pizza joint. As Lee and Mia grow close romantically, they cross paths with Connor Day, Mia's volatile ex-boyfriend and the top fighter at a local dojo known for brutal, underground-style karate battles. Connor viciously attacks Lee, prompting Lee's mother to hire a tutor named Alan, with whom Lee forms a strong bond. Lee later finds himself in another confrontation with Connor. Although Lee defends himself, he's still no match for Connor's skill. Lee attempts a mid-air flying kick, something his late brother once taught him. But Connor anticipates it, counters the move and brings Lee down hard. One night, Lee sees Victor being assaulted by loan sharks sent by O'Shea, a dojo owner and Connor's ruthless karate instructor. Lee steps in and takes out the thugs. Grateful, Victor reveals his past as a professional boxer and his intention to make a comeback to settle his debts and save the pizzeria. He asks Lee to help train him. Initially reluctant, Lee agrees under the impression he won't have to fight himself. He also begins working at Victor's pizzeria. During Victor's return to the ring, his opponent, taking illegal orders from O'Shea, knocks him out with dirty blows. Victor ends up in the hospital, under the care of Lee's mother. Traumatized by memories of his brother's death, Lee freezes and does nothing, leaving Mia disappointed in him. After avoiding calls from Mr. Han, Lee finally reconnects when the master arrives in New York. Once Mr. Han learns the full story, he urges Lee to compete in the upcoming Five Boroughs tournament, not just to support his friends, but to face his own inner demons. Han then travels to Los Angeles to seek help from Daniel LaRusso, revealing that he once stayed at Mr. Miyagi's home and was inspired by Daniel's story. Daniel is initially unsure but agrees to help and returns with Han to New York. Lee begins training under Mr. Han's Kung Fu and Daniel's Miyagi-Do defensive techniques. Meanwhile, he grows closer to Alan, who lets Lee use his rooftop garden, complete with pet pigeons, as a practice space. Mr. Han and Daniel collaborate to reinvent Lee's brother's signature flying kick into a clever trick move that draws opponents in, allowing Lee to dodge and counter effectively. After numerous failures, Lee eventually perfects the technique. The tournament's final match takes place on a rooftop, where Lee and Connor go head-to-head in a fierce, 8-point showdown. With the score tied at 7, Lee lands the winning strike using the modified flying kick, claiming victory and overcoming his fears. When Connor attempts a final cheap shot, Lee swiftly blocks and disarms him, showing restraint. Impressed, Connor finally acknowledges Lee's strength. Later on, Victor expands his business by opening a second pizzeria with Mia. Mr. Han returns home to China. To show his appreciation, Lee sends a pizza delivery to Los Angeles, where Daniel shares a slice with Johnny Lawrence, who jokes about ordering New York pizza in LA and insists West Coast pies are superior. Johnny then pitches a new business idea, a dojo-themed pizzeria named Miyagi-Do, to Daniel's visible annoyance. And just like that, Lee's journey from silent student to fearless fighter comes full circle, not with vengeance, but with growth, mercy, and a little slice of New York pizza on the side. If you enjoyed the story of redemption, rivalry, and rooftop karate, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into epic showdowns and cinematic moments. Got thoughts on that flying kick? Or want to see more stories like this? Drop your comments below. I read them all. Until next time, stay sharp, stay strong, and remember, sometimes your greatest battle is with yourself.